I'm mad, like super mad, and you know what? I feel like I need to get my anger out on someone. That's right, I'm gonna yell at Elden Ring bosses because why not? So let's get started. First up, how do we get the ability to yell at things? Some might say it just comes from time or anger issues, but in this case it comes from someone else's anger issues, specifically Goronk. Now, Goronk doesn't want to teach us how to yell right off the bat, because he took up a new religion that doesn't allow it, so we're going to need to feed him some plants in order to coax him into teaching us. We need 4 of them in order for him to get mad enough that we can pick up on it, so let's look at the easiest ones we can get. These would include beating up Black Knife Assassin in the catacombs, beating up the Cremation Shade in the catacombs, and then capsizing 2 boatmen because neither of them actually have their boating licenses, since they never went to Mrs. Puff's schooling, so we seize their boats and take them for ourselves. These obviously require us to use different weapons, but since they aren't main bosses, I'm not going to stress about it because they're easily forgotten. Let's look at the equipment we need to get now as well. So there's the Highland Axe, which will increase our roar damage by 7.5%, however it's in Stormville Castle, so we'll have to deal with Margit first. There's a Roar Talisman that increases our damage by a whopping 15%, which is located in a super easy cave and guarded by a dumb troll, and that's about it for Roar specific equipment. The rest will be a mix of Sword Sills, Blue Dancer Charm, Shard of Alexander, Great Shield Talisman, you know, the typical actually good talismans, and not something like this piece of shit Crucible Knot. Now, the actual roar and damage scales with dexterity, however I didn't know that, so instead I never leveled my dexterity and look like a laughingstock doing so. Yes, I know, what an idiot, what an absolute buffoon, what a stupid bitch. So therefore my dex never gets past 13 unless I equip a certain talisman, so theoretically this build should be better, but it just isn't. During each boss, I'm going to give them a rating of 1 to 10 on how much they deserve to be yelled at based on an arbitrary reasoning. Alright, preliminary stuff out of the way, let's get into the bosses. So Margit gets a rating of like a 2, he doesn't really need to be yelled at, but because I currently don't have anyone else to yell at, I'm going to take it out all on him. Margit's standing in the way of getting the Highland Axe for more damage, and I don't like that, so I'm going to start yelling at him to show how much I don't like it. Now, the roar itself actually does pretty decent damage in itself. It can also get headshots or hit weak spots for even more damage, and the consistency of being able to just fling these things out allows for us to stagger bosses as well. The vibrations from my vocal cords just absolutely rustles Margit's eardrums and causes them to eventually rupture. Obviously, Margit is a sensitive soul, and when he's confronted with yelling, he crumbles under pressure, just absolutely can't handle the pressure of someone raising their voice, so he ends up quitting his job and going to search for a new calling. Now that we fired Margit from his job, we can go into the castle and retrieve the Highland Axe, which will be our new favorite weapon for the entire run, which is great considering how early on it is in the game. We can also get the Roar Medallion in this cave in order to increase our damage by quite a bit. Of course, we need to upgrade our new weapon, so we get some smithing stones and then immediately move on to Godric. As for Godric's rating, it's a whopping 8 because of the fact that he has extra arms like a wannabe General Grievous, but he never got cast for the role, so we point and laugh at this loser. Now for Godric, we have a very special select strategy that we decide to employ upon him. This strategy is what I like to call the reproduction suction strategy. Now, why do I call it that? No particular reason, especially because it has nothing to do with what I'm actually doing in the fight. Anyways, the fight is just producing a sound wave from our mouth, yelling at Godric for rolling in the dirt and gravel like a deranged child that just found out that they lost the Zack and Cody Danimals contest. Obviously this would put a rage in just about any sane human being, so I won't judge him for it, but instead I'll judge him for the fact that he quite possibly might be the most dogshit boss in a From Software game apart from High Lord Wolfner, but we don't want to bring him up because of that one time when I actually did get clapped on by him way back in the day, but we move on. Don't know where the fight went, rating is a 10 because I don't know where the fight is, and that means he probably took it, so he deserves to be yelled at. Renala's rating on how much we want to yell at her is a solid 0 because I'm a simp and I'm not going to raise my voice at a woman unless they just ruin my life by taking half my assets and all of my kids in divorce court. But Renala didn't do that yet, so she's pretty cool. At least that's what I thought, but as you can see, we're yelling at her, calling her all sorts of nasty names like stinker, bitch, and the rudest one of all, Mona Lisa. She doesn't enjoy this, and it causes her to call multiple eyewitnesses to snitch on me should we ever go to court, in which my response is to hurry up and knock her out with my voice before I end up on a local news station for domestic violence. Other than the fear of a formal hearing, Renala isn't too special as long as we just keep our distance and dodge her magic before attacking, so I don't get caught in animation and sent to the judiciary branch of the government. But eventually we win back custody of our children by yelling in the courtroom, and Renala gets what she deserves. A slap on the wrist for lying and being told never to do it again, only for her to do it to the next partner she meets in life, so let's move on to our next partner, Radahn's horse. Turns out Renala and Radahn were seeing each other, but she just used Radahn in order to get with his horse, but that's too graphic to talk about. If you know about a story known as Mr. Hands, then first off, I'm sorry, but you also know what I'm talking about.
You naughty, naughty, you teasing me, you naughty, naughty.
If you don't, then keep it that way and move on with your life. As for the Radon yelling stat, I'm going to give him a solid 1 because he's had it hard already considering he got cucked by a horse, so there's no need to add fuel to the fire. As for the fight, there's nothing too crazy going on. We typically aim for his horse because he's a home wrecker, but Radon suffers injuries instead because he's blind by his friendship with his horse. Unfortunately, no matter where he goes, the horse is right next to him at all times as if they're glued together by some unknown super sucker adhesive, but that's okay because if Radon's too blind by his horse, then I'll be there to break them apart. Unfortunately, they have a bond like no other, so the only option I have is to murder them both and move on with my life by going back to an old friend. Unfortunately, it turns out my old friend is dead, so all that's left is his ghost, and he's pretty pissed off at me. Could be because of me leaving him when he was homeless in the mean city of New York, but more so probably because I didn't give him $5 to get a meal before I left.
Yo, Sharks, how y'all doing today? My name is Mrs. Jenny Goldfarb, and I'm from the mean streets in New York City.
I'm out.
That aside, his yelling stat is a -5 because he's the one doing the yelling because of our past interactions. The fight we have is one for the ages because most of the time when I yell back at him, he throws a tantrum and starts stomping the ground. Since I've known him for so long, I should be able to know his every move, but like a struggling teenager, he changed since the last time I saw him. This is bad because he knows all my secrets and he could tell the world at any moment, and of course the whole world would listen if a ghost started talking sexual style, so I have to put an end to him before it's too late and he spills some more dirty little secrets. But before that, I'm going to spill one of his before he gets me first, and that secret is that he actually is the first Elden Lord. Shock. This little information is enough for him to keep his mouth shut for good, and we move on to Morgott. Morgott's rating is a small 2 because honestly he's pretty trash, and I don't want to make him feel worse than his skill allows. The fight in general is super easy for some reason. As long as you just stay away from him, he can't really do anything. He tries to show off his sword swinging techniques that he learned off of YouTube, but he's too incompetent to actually remember how to do them, so he ends up swinging at the air. Not only can he not remember how to actually use his sword, he looked up the bootleg 240p videos from Discord mods since he saw them as an inspiration. This turns out poorly for him because he tried looking cool doing them instead of fully embracing the cringe himself, and we all know you can't half-ass being a Discord mod because it requires your full attention in order to be a good one. And you better believe Morgott has none of that pimp nasty swag that the Discord mods I know do. Trust me, I know what it's like because I'm widowy the best Discord mod known to man. Fire Giant's rating is a high 7 because he has no clothes on, and yet here he is standing in the cold snowy weather. The weather doesn't stop me or my iron lungs, so we just sit right underneath his hairy ankles, snipping away his ingrown toenails with our mouth. Honestly, this fight is probably the easiest one in the run. The vocal cancer that I spew from my mouth, mixed with the fact that Fire Giant has dementia and can't move properly, ends up obliterating this red guy so much that I actually managed to get almost a hitless run on him. But of course I don't, because I get distracted by his massive biceps, which ultimately ends up getting me hit. Apart from the single hit I end up taking, nothing else even comes close to knocking my head off, so that's all fine and dandy. Of course, all the fights that have happened could have been better if I actually leveled up my dexterity, but again, I didn't, and here's proof just so you don't call me a dumb idiot cringe lord liar. Astel's arena is so cold, so we take off our clothes in order to get more acquainted with him, and it ends up working out just peachy. His yell rating is a 5 because I had to take off my clothes in order to enter his house, so I'm a little upset by it, but also at the same time slightly enticed. Since I have no clothes on, I can put on the blue dancer charm because the damage for this fight is just not good. Simply because his crystal body manages to protect him from the power of words. Sticks and stones may break Astel's bones, but words only mildly upset him, and that's the truth. Because I actually had to stack basically all the damage talismans just to be able to stand a chance without spending a year fighting him. Again, 13 dexterity, which I'm just going to ignore it being the reason why my damage is bad, and blame it on Astel for being made of crystals. The fight is trying to wait for a clear shot to hit his head, otherwise even with damage stuff on, my damage will tank like an actual tank driving into water, and I didn't get insurance. Other than that, it's pretty simple, and he goes down from the sheer volume of my intellectual diction. I decided to keep my loadout that I had for Astel in order just to see how fast I can burst down some of the bosses, and it turns out to work really well because words I'm saying are just destroying Loretta's confidence. The yell rating is going to have to be a 1 because there's nothing to really even say other than that I smoked that bitch back to the 1800s with her night ass. I broke time and space and sent Loretta into a frenzy of past life. That's right, we got a hitless boss win against this horse-riding, donkey-strapping young lass, and I feel great about it even if it is short-lived. I'm still standing taller than her dead hunky-dory ass though. I need to put my clothes back on for Godskin Duo because I got nervous having 2 of them surrounding me and didn't feel comfortable with my ability to call for help should anything turn bad. However, my yelling rating is a solid 8 because these guys fucking suck. Now, I left this death in because I don't actually know why, but I'm gonna keep it in because I expected him to not roll twice in a row, but he did it anyway, and I just wanted you to see that he pumped up his tires so full of air that he had to hit me with the Tokyo Drift season back to back just to prove he's the best driver. Now, the real fight is a lot of horse shit as usual from these two, and I'm talking about Sweet Life of Zack and Cody horse shit. These 2 hooligans are causing problems for me and everyone else, so the fight is trying to tire them out by playing tag, and while they chase me around trying to tag me, I scream about how their mother is a druggie and how they'll never amount to anything in life until they look inside themselves and solve their inner dilemmas. Of course, this doesn't work out, so I just rupture their eardrums until they have to go to the ER and get it checked out so I can move on before they get back. The yell rating for Dragonlord is a 6 simply because of his double yellow piss lasers somehow tearing up the entire floor when he does it. Now, you may think that I'm able to do what I did to all the other bosses, however, that's where you're wrong. You see, the other bosses lack courage and thick skin, so yelling at them enough allowed me to eventually defeat them. Not Dragonlord, you see, because he literally has thick skin. Not because he's a rock dragon, but because he's a boomer. The backstory of Dragonlord is something to do with time being rewound or some M. Night Shyamalan shit, I don't know. Moral of the story is we just stay away from his disgusting dew claws, counter whenever I get the opportunity, and instead of yelling with angry messages, we give him uplifting words of encouragement until he decides to let me leave this eternal hell of time manipulation. I'm gonna go ahead and give this guy a yell rating of 1 because he's the one that got me started with the run in the first place, but technically it's a different version of him or something, I don't know, more time shit, but he looks the same as the other one, so I'm gonna assume they're the same dog. The fight is blitzing through the first phase because it sucks with yelling. This guy just won't leave me alone like peanut butter and jelly, and I'm the bread. However, the second phase is super simple because he just kept doing this slash and slam attack in response to me roaring at him, which was pretty super beanstalk pumpkin seed of him. All in all, I got super lucky during this fight because usually he would just pull out Tony Hawk Pro skate tricks on my unsuspecting brain, but this time he didn't because of reasons I can't explain, but maybe this picture will help paint the picture for you.
I hope you die in a fire!
Now, Gideon is human, so I'm going to give his yell rating a good 9 because he's easily manipulated by yelling. So I'm going to do the only thing that makes sense during the fight. I'm going to gaslight him the entire time. The fight is just embarrassing for Gideon in all honesty. Every time he tries to do his magic little birthday bash clown trick, he gets his back blown out by my voice and knocked off balance, just railing this guy off the fast track and making him take a walk down Easy Street into an early grave caused by hearing loss. Poor Lou is the epitome of boomer, so this means his yell rating has to be a 7, because if I don't yell at him, he most certainly is going to yell at me. Essentially, he's the type of guy and boss that will turn my nuts inside out if I let him.
Your little fucking nuts are gonna start quaking, buddy. Your little nuts are gonna be quaking.
But I'm not in the mood right now, so I need to make sure I blast him off the map as soon as possible. The fight is filled with him doing the cha-cha slide back and forth over and over again until he finally learns some other dance moves like the Macarena. He's got 2 left feet though, so we criticize his dance moves over and over again because he fucking sucks at dancing. Helen Keller on crutches could do better than this guy, but if I tell him that to his face, he'll probably try and fight me, so I'll keep my mouth shut. The second phase of the fight is honestly super easy, probably because I managed to get a stagger on him, which immediately led to him doing his scripted YMCA dance, allowing me to just burst his health down to his socks, and he continues to use easy to dodge counterattacks, so I don't know what he's honestly doing, but he's dead now, so it doesn't matter. The rating for Moog is a 15 because of something so disgusting I don't even think I can talk about it. That's right, it's the fact that he's in a relationship with all these gravestones. This place is covered with the gravestones from all the people he's murdered, it's sickening. So we need to teach him a lesson about interior design. During the fight, we yell at him about his bad habits, his choice of arena, basically all of his life choices, honestly, because I'm trying to roleplay as his dad in order to set him on the right track. However, he's currently in his rebellious 50-year-old bitch phase, so I have no choice but to yell at him. Obviously, he doesn't want to go yet, so he comes out of the closet and shows me who he really is by growing wings out of his back, and since I'm so good at roleplay, and the time period for Elden Ring looks like it's pretty far back in the past, I'm going to give him the full experience of what it would be like back in the day. That's right, I turn my words up a notch and start attacking him for real in an effort to put him out of commission, like my 1800 car that I refuse to replace because I don't want to accept these new times of shitboxes. I'm stuck in my old ways, and I forever will be, so if Moog has to take the brunt of my rage, then so be it. I raised him better than what he's showing me, and he knows it, he's just confused. So the Serpent gets a rating of 10 because like Indiana Jones, I hate snakes, but I don't actually hate snakes, I just needed a reason to give this guy a 10 on the rating. course, this is what we all know as lying, however, I like to label it as bending the truth to fit my prerogative. I basically just yell at him while dodging his hungry hippo attack he tries to do, otherwise I'll end up like a piece of Gouda cheese, and I hate Gouda cheese, so I refuse to be something as bad as that. Rykard, on the other hand, gets a rating of 1 because he's offering to accept me to join the Serpent family, and honestly, that's the first time anyone's ever asked me to join their club. I never got asked to join clubs in school for some reason. Rykard, on the other hand, doesn't mind if I become a little devious here and there, and that's so nice of him. I end up having to yell at him though, because his leadership skills in this club are subpar, and he's letting some guy named Ryan make all the club activities for some reason, so I have to make sure Rykard mans up and takes control of this club that he started before things get out of hand. I need to stay just far enough away that I can't smell him because he reeks, but I also need to be close enough that I can spit on him at the same time. It's a delicate balance, and without a protractor and a tape measure, I don't think it's actually possible. So if you're going to attempt this, make sure you bring your tools, otherwise you'll end up looking like the only tool here. Mulaney is a total mother figure, and that just makes me feel like a little baby man happy guy, but because I know she'll eventually get eaten up by an unknown disease, I need to yell at her at the levels of 8 to fix her lifestyle. Her ancestors all had this disease, and I'm pretty sure it's called Alice in Wonderland syndrome, so I need to keep an eye out for the symptoms. The fight's pretty simple because I take my clothes off in order to have full view of any symptoms that may appear on my body, and I'm trying to get her to take hers off as well, just so I can check and for no other reason, but she just won't budge. So I bait her out by seducing her, and she just can't contain herself, so she sprints towards me multiple times. Every time she does, I pull out a long list of Alice in Wonderland syndrome symptoms, and she says she can't read, so she backs away again. Second phase, and when she finally decides to take her clothes off, and now I realize this isn't what I wanted, because she looks like a burn victim at best and a science experiment at worst. Uh-oh, looks like I let my expectations get the best of me, so I guess I better fix up my judgment, but not before she fixes up her grotesque skin condition, or at least warn me before just showing it off. I basically just do the same thing as when she had clothes on, except now she's naked. I put my clothes back on because I'm not interested anymore. You see, I tricked her and now she's the weird one for having no clothes on. Remember everyone, stay toxic and trick people every chance you can because you always need a backup plan when the thing you want turns out to have a skin condition and you don't want to be caught on the wrong side of something like that with your pants down. This fight makes no sense to me, so he has a yell rating of 10 because how is he able to block sound waves? Essentially, I guess you could say he's blocking out the haters.
Hey, I'm sorry I didn't see you there. I was too busy blocking out the haters.
But then I would say that's cringe in this day and age. This means I have to find an opening when his headphones aren't actually playing any music in order to yell at him about how he needs to cut his long red hippie hair. The entire time I'm running away from him because I was too scared to actually fight him up close in fear that he would cold sock me with his big old meaty hammer, and I don't have dental insurance to get it fixed, so I didn't want to end up looking like a crackhead when he knocked all my teeth out of my mouth. Other than that though, as long as he doesn't slap away the roar with his wrist somehow, then everything is pretty fine and works out. Should he knock away my words, he'll take them out of context and post them on the deep web, which will ultimately get a hitman on me and make me a feature in the new Netflix series known as The Red Room. Elden Beast, being the final boss, deserves a yell rating of a 2 because after beating him I can stop being so angry at everyone and move on with my life. But before that, I'm going to make sure I really lay into this guy, and considering he's an animal, no matter what I say, as long as I change the pitch of my voice, he won't know the difference. Isn't that right, Elden Beast, you big blubbery son of a bitch?
Oh my god!
There's a common theme for most of the fights during this run, and that's the fact that the bosses don't actually know what to do when you yell at them for some reason, because most of the fights are Mortal Shell easy. Mind you, I still have my dex at 13, so it could be way better, but for some reason it's already fairly easy. I don't know, maybe I'm just a master pro gamer about to be signed up to FaZe, or the bosses just went easy on me, who knows. What I do know though is the fact that Elden Beast has no idea what I'm actually saying the entire time, and that must confuse him because eventually he just passes away and I become the Elden Lord by sheer yelling because no one else was able to challenge me since they would have been yelled at as well. But yeah, so anyways, that's about it for this fight, and this run, and this video. Thanks for watching, and everything I said in this video is a joke if you can't already tell. See you in the next one, I guess.